Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation, the Nasri, Chant Mahalla Chautha, Ghar Pehla. Ik Oankar Satgur Prasad. Har Jiu Kripa Kare ta Naam Dhiaiai Jiu. सतगुर मिले सुभाए सहज गुण गाइए जियो गुण गाए विगसे सदा अनदिन जाए आप साचे भावे अहंकार हऊँ मैं तजे माया सहज नाम समावे आप करता करे सोई आप देता पाइए हर जियो कृपा करे ता नाम धियाइयै जियो. This is the first stanza and it is conditional. Har jiyo kripa kare ta. When Har Jiu, the self, showers its grace, then Naam Dhiaiai Jiu. Naam is contemplated. In other words, in order for us to touch Naam or to reach that Naam consciousness, we require the operation of grace in our lives. And we will see how that works. Satguru mile subhaye, sehaj gun gaiye jiyo. So that is the other condition now. We need grace, and grace comes through the Satgur. Satgur mile subhaye. The Satgur is beautiful. When the Satgur enters our life, sehaj gun gaiye jiyo, then we cultivate virtues, guna, gaiye, we express virtues, sehaj, naturally. They come naturally to us. They are not forced. Guna gaye vigse sada, anandin ja aap sache pave. So when we express virtues, guna gaye vigse sada, that means we blossom, blossoming like a flower. Our consciousness blossoms. Vigsa comes from the word vi plus kasa. Vi means all-pervading. Kasa means light. So one expands, one's intellect becomes enlightened, if you will, sada. And then in that enlightenment is aap sache pave. The sacha, the Har is pleased. What that means is we begin to operate in harmony with the Har. And that happens because ahankar haume taje maya sahaj naam samave. It's not forced, as I said. It comes when the mind begins to divest itself of its ego identification. You see, the ego is a tool. It becomes a problem when it becomes identification. So, through Gur wisdom, through the Satgur, we begin to understand the true nature of Haume and Ahankar, this I-ness. And we begin to distance ourselves. Tajay. Ahankar haume tajay. And with that, the hold of Maya, this world play, the identities of the world, they lose their hold on you. And when that happens, Naam samave, Naam just becomes present. It's there all the time. Aap karta kare soi, aap deta paiye. All of this is happening within the self. This whole process is happening within the self. Within the self, there is pure essence and there is pure ego. And the Satguru has to intervene to align them. The second stanza. अंदर साचा नेहो पूरे सतगुरै जियो हाउ तिस सेवी दिन रात मैं कदे न विसरै जियो कदे न विसारी अन दिन समाहारी जा नाम लई तां जीवा श्रवणी सुनी तां एह मन तृप्तै गुरमुख अमृत पीवा नदर करे तां सतगुर मेले अन दिन विवेक बुध विचरै अंदर साचा नेहो पूरे सतगुरै. So you see that the first and the last lines are being repeated in each one of these stanzas. In the first stanza, it was Har Jiu Kripa Kare, ta Naam Dhiaiai Jiu. The condition of grace, the Satgur. We need the Satgur. And what happens is, Andar Sacha Neh Pure Satguru Jiyo, the Guru reveals to you the inner essence, which is love itself. You begin to realize that Naam is love. The Sabad is love. The very ground of your being is love. How tis sevi din raat mein kade na visara jiyo. So, how tis sevi I serve day and night, never forgetting. Who is being served? The Satgur. And serving means sevan. It means to imbibe. You're imbibing the teachings of the Guru. And as you imbibe them, the hold of your ego begins to loosen, as we saw in the first verse. Here, that idea is being expanded a little bit. So how this is sevi, I imbibe, I never forget. And then I begin to realize that I come alive only when I'm in Naam consciousness. In ego consciousness, I'm not even alive. I'm sleepwalking, asleep. So, kadena visari andin samhari ja janam ja naam lai ta jiva. I'm alive when I'm in Naam consciousness. Sravani suni ta eh man tripta. Until I hear, not with physical ears, until I resonate with the Satguru. Sravani suni. With the ears of intuition, until I resonate with the word of the Guru, until then man will not be tripat. And that happens, Gurmukha Amrita Pima. That is what it means, imbibing of that nectar, the teachings. Nadar kareta Satguru mele, anandina bibek buddha bichara. So that is the other thing that happens. Your ego begins to lose its hold. Your identification with the ego lessens, then you realize that the essence within is all love. You continue to imbibe the Guru's teachings. You resonate with them. When you resonate with them, you are literally drinking the nectar. It's so sweet. Life is sweet. And what happens then is Bibeg Buddha Bichara. Just like Vigsa in the first, where your mind is expanding, here Bibeg Buddha Bichara. In that expansion is a discriminating sense. In the adjacent sabad that we did, we talked about Hansa, the mind, the swan mind. What does it have? It has Bibek Buddh. So Bibek Buddh starts to take hold in the mind. And then what happens? The third stanza. Sat sangati mile vad bhage, ta har ras aave jiyo, anandin rahe livlaye, ta sahaj samave jiyo. Sahaj samave ta har man pave, sada atit bairagi, halat palat sobha jagayantar, राम नाम लिव लागी हरख सोग दुहाते मुक्ता जो प्रभ करे सो भावे Sat sangati mile vad bhage, ta har ras aave jiyo. So now Sat Sangati, association with Sat, the truth. Now commonly we translate this to mean the Sangat that we maintain on, let's say, Sunday Gurudwara. That is not the Sangat that is being mentioned here. This is the Guru. Association with the Guru is a matter of great fortune. Sat Sangati Mile, if you find the Satgur, that is a matter of great fortune. You are blessed. Then Hararas Avaye Jiyo. Then you will actually enjoy the ras, the juice, the sap of the Har, literally. Andin rahe liv laye ta sahaj samave jiyo. You are grounded and the mind becomes centered, live alive, one-pointed mindfulness. Sahaj samave, you're in a state of equipoise, naturalness. There's nothing forced. Atita bairagi, that is another condition of the mind where it is, you could say, I like to say you're in neutral gear. You're not indifferent, but you're in a neutral gear to the world. Halat palat soba jagi antari ram naam liv lagi. So basically, halat palat in the now and in the thereafter. Soba, your mind is enlightened. You are enlightened and you can see the now and the thereafter. In other words, your intuition works. Harak sog dohate mukta. Sorrow and joy don't affect you because you are in neutral. They come and they go. Jo prab kare so pave. You're in resonance, you're in harmony with whatever happens. And that is what is meant by Satsangati Mele Vadapagya Ta Har Ras Ave Jiyo. That is the ras, living in that ras. Now, in the fourth stanza, the Guruji talks about the reverse of this mindset. This is the manmukh. Duje pae dukh hoye, manmukh jam jo hai ajiyo, manmukh jamme jo hai ajiyo. हाय हाय करे दिन रात माया दुख मोहया जियो. माया दुख मोहया हाउ में रोहया. मेरी मेरी करत विहावे. जो प्रभ दे तिस चेते नाही. अंते गया पछतावे. बिन नामे को साथ न चालै. पुत्र कलतर माया तोहया. दूजे पाए दुख होए, मनमुख जम्मे जो है जियो. Duje pai, duality. Duality, a very technical term which means where you have the subject-object split, where you think that what you're looking at is different from you, the universe outside. At the very deepest level, that is the error, because you're not. You don't see the connection. You see duality. And that means you're subject to time. Jama Joheya. Time is tyranny because it divides itself into past, present, future, and immediately causes the mind to become anxious. Because now suddenly you are regretting the past, you are plotting for the future, you can't anticipate it, and it creates anxiety in the present. And what do? What does a manmukh do? Hai hai kare din rati. This is what you do is hai hai. You're lamenting things all the time. Crying. How main roya. Meri meri karat vihava. Possessiveness is killing you. That is what the Gurmukh gets away from. Jo pravade tis chete nahi. You do not acknowledge what you already have. And because you don't do that, in the end, gaya pachutave, you regret. You leave in regret. You live in regret. So the Guru advises us, bin naame ko saath na challa. Without wisdom, nobody will actually leave with you. The only thing that stays with you is your wisdom. Putra kalatra maya toya. All of these relationships that you possess and are possessive about will not last. So duje pae dukh hoye. This is what happens when you live in this duality, this association with externalities. Even if they are relationships, they are all vulnerable and all subject to time. So jam johya. The concluding verse, Kar Kripa leho milaye, महल हर पाया जियो, सदा रहे कर जोड़, प्रभ मन पाया जियो, प्रभ मन पावै ता हुक्म समावै, हुक्म मन सुख पाया, अन दिन जपत रहे दिन राती, सहजे नाम ध्याया, नामो नाम मिली वड्याई, नानक नाम मन पावै, कर कृपा लेहो मिलाए, महल हर पाया जियो. This is the culmination. Mahal har paya jiyo. So that grace has happened. Kari Kripa leho milai. What began as a condition which said, Har Jiu Kripa Kare ta Naam Dhiaiai Jiu. Then we went through the process. Satguru is the process. The conclusion is Kar Kripa leho milai. That Satguru has actually graced me, because at the end, you see, there is no difference between the Satguru and the Har. This is a continuum. Leho milai, mahal har paya jiyo. The mansion of the Har within. The Guru took me there. Sada rahe kari jod, prabh man bhaya jiyo. So sada rahe kar jod. This union is permanent. Prabh man bhaya jiyo. I found the Prabh to be very pleasing. What that means is I am in complete harmony with the Prabh. Prabh man bhave, ta hukam samave. When you're in resonance with the Prabh, it is the same thing as saying that you are in hukam. Man sukh paya, and that brings this sense of well-being. Anadin japata rahe din rati, sahje naam dhiaiai. Andin japat rahe, which means day and night. Japat rahe, this realization stays within. I stay in that state where I'm in union with the Prabh, in the mansion of the Prabh. Har paya jiyo, kari kripa. And he says, Namo naam mili vadiai. So it's interesting. Through Naam, you find Naam. Mili Vadiai, Vadiai is also Naam. So all of this is interlinked. Nanak Naam Mane Pave, because now when you are in Hukam, it is another way of saying that Naam consciousness is where you are living now. So the conclusion is, Kar Kripa Leho Milaye, Mahal Har Paya Jiyo. So the Guru's Kripa, grace, I found the mansion of the Har within myself. So what started as a condition has now culminated as a conclusion. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.